Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So what we want to do here is create the share button for this one that says share to specific people, because the rest of this works just fine. Also, as a final thing, we need to fix the pagination here. It doesn't seem to work just yet. So what I'm going to do is start with the pagination here, and then we can finish up with this share thingy. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the share to specific people below here, so that I can add some extra stuff down here to for me to list those people if I wanted to. Okay. So let's begin with pagination. First of all, let me change that icon. I now know I should use the sound wave icon instead. So where is this? Where do I put the icons? Wait a minute, there's speaker here. This is in the functions. Instead, I should use sound wave. Sound wave. I think that one illustrates the point better. Okay, so there we go. So we have a sound wave over there. That's great. Now let's do some pagination here to make sure that next page works as intended. Now all we have to do here is just refresh the table but include a page number. This is all we need to do. So let me go here. Where is the... I want to go to the table object, and then there's refresh here. So when refreshing, there's mode over here, and we should probably add a page number here. So the mode and the page number. So I will add that extra and make it optional. I'll say page is equal to 1. So there we go. And then what I can do is right on the table thingy here, I can add a page number. So here I can just say page is equal to 1, comma. All right, great. So seems we are doing well. Now let's go to the same refresh here. So we have page over there, which is something we're using. Now you can use small letters here. You don't have to use capitalized. I don't even know why I'm using that, but no matter. When we send the data, we should include that. So where are we sending the data from? It's down here. Where is this? My form, right? Form is the one that contains the data. So whatever we add in form becomes part of it. So here I'm just going to say page, and then here put that page that I submitted. And just like that, we have included a page. Now when reading and saying page here, for example, it would be good to know what page number we are on. So let me look for the next and previous buttons. So I'm going to say priv. I want to find this particular one, capitalized previous. So there we go. So here, what do I do here? I'm going to say on click, I'll create a function called I think it's better to put it inside table. We say table.priv. You can put page if you want, but I think that's fine. And then here on click, we go again table.next, like so. Okay, so just to move things along, next, previous, and next, just like that, and we're good. So we have a third thing here. I think this one is for, probably this one is floating, and this one is to clear the float. So let me see what happens if I add a div. Let me add a span instead because it's an inline object. Okay, and then let me just put a page number here and say page 1, like so. So let's see how well that looks. Okay, so not the best, but I think it can do. Let's add a few styles. For example, let's do text align, center, and then let's make the width 100%. Let's see how well that looks. Okay, so it doesn't do very well because whether we put a width of 100%, we need a display of inline block, I think, to make it blocky so it can go all the way. And there it is. The only problem is it displaces that, but we can actually fix this by just using flex. So let me do a style and say display flex, like so. This should solve the problem, like so. Okay, now these guys need a better width, so I can give them a minimum width on this one here. So I'm going to put a style and say min width, like that. Let's put it maybe at 150 pixels, like so. Okay, very good. Okay, maybe a bit much. Let's go back to 100. That would probably look better. Yeah, that does it. Okay, very cool. Now we need to be able to access this guy here. So let's put a class here. So I'm going to say JS page number, like that. Okay, so at least in there we know how to access that, so we can edit the page number. Okay, pretty good. Now once I click, I need to run this table.prev and then the table.next functions within the table object. So what I'm going to do is go to the table object and create those things. So where is the table object? So we have a page number here. This is a way for us to actually store information about the current page. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see here. Prev. So we're still in the table object. I think I can just put it right here. It doesn't matter the order. So we say previous, say function, like so. And then let's put the next and put function, like that. So we have a function here called previous, and we have another function here called next. And so all these do is increment and decrement this number. That's all. So here it's going to be table.page is equal to, actually we can just do minus equals 1, something like this. This will subtract from that, and then this will add to it. Now there's no limit to how far the page numbers can go, but there should be a limit for how low they can go. So on the lower end, we need to limit the number to 0. So we're going to put an if statement and say if table.page is less than 1, then let's put it back at 1. So table.page is equal to 1. Simple as that. Okay, that way we never go below that. Now the other thing is we need to update the view itself. So I'm going to say document.querySelector. This time I'm looking for the item I named JS, and what I did was say page number, like so. Then let's change its inner HTML and say is equal to page, and then we put a space. then we add to that string the table dot page number, like so. So I'm going to grab this one as well and do exactly the same thing down here. So that's just for the display. Okay, so let's see this in action. I'm going to refresh and watch the page number here change as I click. As you can see there, it's working fine. And if I try to go below 1, it doesn't work, which is great. So let's keep moving like that. That's very, very good. Now, at the same time, once we change the page number, we are also supposed to refresh the page, the table, rather. So let's do a table dot refresh like that. So of course, in order to get, we have mode there, and what is the current mode? Let's see here. I want to see where I've used table.refresh with a mode applied to it. Where have I done this? In fact, all I need to do is see how to find the current mode we are in. So mode is equal to, so it's mode.current actually. That's what I was looking for. So I can do this and say mode.current, which is the current mode. Now the only reason I have to supply this is because I need to supply a page number here. So here I'm going to do table.page, whatever the page number is at that time. So let me copy that and let's do the same here. Now I'm refreshing the table before I change the page number, so that because refreshing the table takes a while, so I shouldn't change the page number yet until the information has changed. Then I can change that as well. So let's see what's going on. So I don't expect the information to change here at all. So I'm going to move like this, but the table is indeed refreshing, so that's good. The only difference now is the information we read from the other side must be different as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go to API part and let me look for the get files part here. So right here I need to receive a page number so that I can use it in the query. So the same way I'm receiving this mode information, I'm going to receive the page information. So page is equal to that. Now if it does not exist, because it's not always that I supply this, I'll assume it's page number 1. So we put that there. Okay, and let's just make sure that if page, for example, if empty, if the page is empty for some reason, what we're going to do is set page to 1. Page is equal to 1, like that. Okay. Also, if it's empty, or we say if it's not numeric, say empty or is numeric page. So we want, if it's not numeric, okay, let's set it to 1. And then also a second version, sorry there, if page is less than 1 for some reason, let's say page is equal to 1. So this can be on one line, of course, because if statements can be on one line like this, if it's just one line in the if statement. Excuse my cough there. Okay, so at least we know up to this point we have a page number. Now we need to deal with pagination. So the way pagination works is that as you read your query like this, you don't tell it that this is page 1, no. What you do is you look at the limit. So the limit is 30 here. And then what you do is you put an offset. So here, let's say, for example, I have a limit of 30, which means it will read 30 records and bring them back. Okay, So once I get 30 records, page 2 means I want to get the next 30 records. So there's a value called offset, and what offset does is that it tells the MySQL how many records to skip before it starts counting. So let's say I get the first 30. If I want the next 30, I can put an offset of 30 and tell it that skip 30 records, then start reading after the 30th record, which will mean page 2. So there's a simple formula we can use here, which I use myself. So first of all, I have to know the limit. In the limit, I know there I set it to 30. So I'm going to create a variable like that. Now what I need to know is the offset. Now if I want to get page 1, the offset is 0. But page 2, the offset is equal to the limit, which is 30, like this. So if I put limit 30 and offset 30, this is page 2 because I'm telling it to skip 30 records and then get the next 30. Now we need just a formula. And the formula is easy. It's page minus 1 multiplied by the limit, like so. Okay. So, like I told you, page 1 is offset to 0. So let's see that. Page 1 is 1 minus 1, which is 0, and any number you multiply by 0 is 0. So that works out. But what about page 2? So if we are on page 2 here, if this is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. So 1 multiplied by 30, that gives us an offset of 30. So it works just fine. So here all we need to do now is put, instead of this limit 30 here, we're going to use the variable instead. That way we can change it in one place, right? So we say limit. That way once we change the limit value, it changes the limit for everything else. And then we're going to say offset. Okay, so limit, and then offset, we'll add an offset from that offset variable as well. Okay, so it's that simple. That's what we do. Alrighty then. So with this in mind, things are going to work out. So if I now refresh, that's still page 1. If I click next, you see that no files found on page 2, just like page 3, but on previous page 1. Now let me show you that this actually works by putting a limit of, let's say, 4. Okay. So if I put a limit of 4, then 4 files are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 folders. So if I go to next, I see these files coming in. Next, nothing. So it actually does work. Let's try a value of 2, of course. So if I go back on the previous page, you will see that interesting. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, just like that. How many folders do we have? So let me put 30 here as the limit. Yeah, we only have 2 folders. Okay, so pagination works as intended. At the same time, I want to change the share thingy. Let me move this down a bit and put some space for the share thing there. So let's go up to, where is the mode here? Let me move this break tag here, and let me grab this guy, move down like so. I think that does it. Alright, share to specific people, and then down here I'm going to put a div for people to share to, right? So let me put a div around here. In here I'm going to put, I think a text area will do better than an input, just a direct input. So I'll put a text area there. What do? Let's put a label that says add email addresses to give access. Let me put a break tag over here as well, like so. So now if I refresh and share, this is what I see. So not the best. Let's see how we can improve this. Instead of label, let me change that to maybe small. That way it's smaller. And then there's I need some styling here as well, so I can say width 100%. And what else? This will be interesting. Add email addresses separated by comma. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this one is going to be tough here. You know what? Let me change it a little bit. Let's say add email addresses. Let's say type an email and click add. I think that would be much better. So instead of a text area here, actually, let's put a list of divs. Just a div like this one. Like so. And then within here, I'll put a div and say, let me give it a class so we can put some classes there. And this one will be class, what will we call it? Email. I'm just going to call it access email or something. And then in here, we can have something like an email address. Something like this. And then at the same time, let me do this. A lot of divs here. You will see why. Because I want another div here that will carry an X, so we can click to close, to cancel, to remove one of these. And then on this one, I think, let me put this style here. I'm gonna do padding 10 pixels, border, solid, thin, EEE, 3 E's, like that. Let me see how that looks. So right click, share. Okay, so it's pretty close to what I want. Type an email address. Oh, I forgot the I need to put an input here. Type text. The name doesn't really matter. Then there should be an add button here, so I'm going to put a button. Let's say add. Right, but I want this in one line, so I'll put a div like that. Okay, so let's do a style here and do display flex. Okay, so it gets a little complex, but this is for better usability. Maybe I don't need to, maybe I do. Access email. Thinking whether I should put the, nah, I think I should put the class there because I'll be adding several of these. Also class, access email holder. That's what I'm going to call this one. Okay, okay. So let's see how that looks. Share. All right, so we are close. What I want is to be able to type a name here and click the add button, and then the name comes down here. But when we don't need the name, we just click the X to remove it. So that's the general idea. And then once I actually select that, it means that is in effect. Then I can just put don't share without affecting these guys over here. Okay, so let's use our styles to style these guys. Maybe here let me put a class instead so I can style it better. So I'm gonna call it access email input. Let's call it. So there's the input, the header, and the email itself. So let me grab this. Let's put some styles. Now styles can be put anywhere really. We can put them here so they are close to where we are using them. So I'm gonna do dot that and then duplicate this 2 more times. So I'm gonna do, there's the email itself. Oops, what have I done? Should have just closed this. Same thing here. So there's an input and there's a header. Yeah, those are the ones, like so. Okay, so with the access email, displays flex, right? And then the header itself, wait, what am I doing here? The header is this one that holds these guys, so I don't really need to do much. This will be used for JavaScript, I think, because I'll just use that to replace the content here. So I'm going to put a JS there just as a reminder that that's what I'm using that for. So which means I don't need to put any styles based on that. Okay, so the input, of course, as well will have display flex. Let me put that there. Okay, and email display flex as well. What else I need? The second item here. How do I grab the second item? I don't want to use very weird CSS styling stuff. So what do? I could just put a class here and call it close, and the class here, call it email, email and close. That way I can, here I can target these separately because I have input and button, but these are both divs, so that's why I need to name them. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so at this point it's just an issue of styling. So access email close. Let me do this. Access email dot close. Duplicate. Access email dot email. All right. So here I'm gonna do a background color of EEE, and then I'm gonna put a margin on top and on the bottom. So margin bottom 1 pixel, and then margin top as well 1 pixel, and then the close button should have a flex of 1, and then a max width of, let's say, 50 pixels. Let's try a padding of 5 pixels. Here, similar stuff. I'll just put flex 1 actually. Let's see here, what else I need. Wait, does the input need a flex of 1? Okay, so the input is that flex 1. No. Just the input needs a flex of 1, and then the button there, kind of similar to this. Okay, so I'm gonna go duplicate this 2 times, like that. So here what I want, this one will be, one of these will be button, and the other one will be the input. So both of these, I think this works well for the button. Let me put that there. Minus the padding, I don't need that, I think. But flex 1 for the other part here will do just fine. Okay, hopefully I'm doing the right thing here, but I need to confirm that I am. Okay, so it looks okay, but this, I can't tell what's going on here. So what I would do is I'll align these items properly. So let's see here. What I'm worried about is this part. This part I think is fine. You can style it as you wish, but for me that's okay. I just want this input. Where is this? Access email. That's the one I want. I want to justify content. No, actually, align items center. And then on the button, no, not on the button, on the close button, I want to put text align center. And then, of course, I want to give it a cursor or pointer. That way people know they can close that. Okay, so right click, share, and there we go. So there it is. Now I want to change slightly the background color of this one because it should be a kind of a reddish thingy. There's no background color there yet. So let's talk about that. So background color, let's put red, and I should also be able to change the color. Let me put white. These are just colors I'm putting here as placeholders. I'm going to replace them momentarily here. So there we go. We have that red color, a bit much. So let's figure it out. Let's click in there and adjust it accordingly so it's not so harsh. Maybe, I don't really know what I should be doing here. Should be red to an extent. Let me get this. Let me put a very dark red for the color and a lighter red for, yeah, I think that works just fine. So let me copy this for the background color and this for the color itself. Great. And then this part I want a little padding, so maybe the padding here is a bit much, so let me just put 2, and let me do exactly the same thing for the email address itself, like that. Okay, so right click, close that, share. Okay, so there we go. Maybe this should be padding left, and let me put 5 pixels. I think that's really what I need. Padding on the left side here of the email address. Okay, very good. Now let me duplicate this because I will have several of these, and let me see how that looks when I do that. So share, and there it is. So these are people with access here, so I can close or cut access just by clicking on that and typing in a new one and clicking add to this. So the button should have a cursor as well. And let's see, what else am I lacking here? Something I wanted to add, now I've forgotten. What is it? Type. Okay, hopefully I'll remember it soon. Let's go. Oh yeah, if there are 10 of these guys, I should have a scroll bar instead. So let me duplicate a few times. So this should be limited to something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say style, and I say max height. Let's say max height is 200 pixels, like that. And then we say overflow y should be auto. Okay, that way it creates a bar here. And then before I close that, let me go to the button. Oh my god, I can't use my scroll mouse here. And put pointer. Oops. Crap. Actually, it should be cursor. Sorry. Alright. Alright, so let me refresh. Let's do this again. Share. I guess 200 pixels is a bit much. Let's try max height. Let's try 100 pixels like that. And let's refresh. Refresh. Share. Okay, so there we go. We have a scroll bar here. If it's too many of these guys, maybe let's add some padding as well for this guy. Padding 10 pixels like that. Okay, so you don't have to go in too deep with a styling here. This is entirely up to you how you want to do it. I think that doesn't help at all, so I'm just gonna remove it. Okay, otherwise everything is great. Things are looking up. Alrighty then, so sharing. Now we just need to make sure that we actually can share or can add addresses here for sharing. I'll see you in the next video.